Hey guys, how you going? It's Mark and Sharon here from Project Inner Athletes, and we're down the park today on this beautiful sunny day to share with you some running drills and running technique how-to guide. We've got quite a few people who are working towards some running events coming up, and there's some real key important issues around making sure you get your running technique right.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to take you through some drills to help you improve your technique. We're going to go through some common faults with not so great technique to do with running. So if you're having trouble getting started with running, or if it's feeling particularly hard for you, then looking at that section might be really beneficial, because there might be some little things that you can change that will actually make the running for yourself much more efficient. And then we're going to obviously show you some great running technique, and we're going to look at some stretches afterwards as well to help you prevent injury and to be able to get back out there and run in a day or two after your running session. So we're also going to talk about shoes because that's also important for making sure that you prevent injury and stay nice and healthy while you're doing a running program as well.
And ultimately, wherever you're at with running, if you're just getting started, we've got some great drills and tips to help you get your running technique going and easing into it. And also, if you're a seasoned runner but you've just got a few little chronic injuries or little niggles going on, likely it's to do with your training, your stretching, or some biomechanical issues. And it'll help you retrain your technique and just look at how you can overcome those to get more longevity into your running. So let's get to it. Let's start by taking a look at how not to run and some common technique errors. So first of all, we've got the duck feet, which is where the toes turn out, which will put stress on the knees and the hips. Second one is the egg beater, where the feet kind of paddle or move in circles and the knees point inwards. The third is the twister, where people twist through their upper body, which will put stress on the lower back. And the final one we've got here is also the hunchback, where we slump forwards and it affects our breathing. And finally, there's the elephant, which is the hard, heavy slapping the feet down. So now you've seen what not to do, let's look at how to do it effectively. Now, the correction for a lot of these little running errors is all about thinking in straight lines. We want the hip, knee, and foot to move in a nice straight line. So while we're watching Sharon do a wonderful run here, what you'll notice is she's running on train tracks. They're fairly narrow, but her feet are just slightly apart as she runs forwards. She's running in a heel-toe motion. And now when you're first starting out with running, you want to go a little bit faster than a walk, so you just heel and off with the toe. But as you start going faster, which we can see here, is Sharon's got a mid-foot run, so she lands in the middle of her foot, then off with her toes. Her arms are strong but move in a straight direction to avoid too much twisting, just enough twisting to create the balance, and she lifts her knees high enough to create that propulsion to get her feet forwards. And then as she starts moving faster, she's going to lean forwards that little bit more. You'll notice she also stays fairly upright, so there's no slumping through the midsection, which restricts her breathing. It's keeping that neutral spine and her chest tall without hyperextending either, so she can get plenty of air into her lungs. And we're going to talk in a moment about how you keep your center of balance forwards, which will help you propel your legs moving forwards a little faster. So here we have a few simple drills to help you condition your body and get used to some running. Our first one is the high knee drill, which is running with your knees up nice and high, giving you the feeling of elevating your knees and lifting up, because a lot of people, this will prevent the shuffle and the scuff along the ground. Now once you've got a feel for the high knee run, do a couple of laps of these and then do the butt kicks, which is little heel flicks up behind, which will get your hamstrings activated and get the feeling of the full range of motion backwards. This will help you get your range as you put the two together. The third one's the toe running, so up and down on your toes, running nice and quick on the spot. So as you run on the toes, we can see as we zoom in for Sharon here, that as we zoom in, as you look a little closer, you'll notice that her heels aren't touching the ground, she's just staying on her toes. And the purpose of this drill is just to help you feel elevated on your toes. Now the final things that are really important for great running is also stretching out your muscles, especially if you're new into running. Your muscles are going to get tight. So we're going to start with the calf stretch. There's two stretches to do. There's a straight leg stretch and a bent knee stretch, stretching out both the muscles of the calf. Toe up and move your hip forward with a straight leg, and then push your knee forward for the bent leg stretch. Second is a hamstring stretch. Make sure you keep your lower back nice and neutral and lean forwards from the hips to get that hamstring stretch. Quad stretch for the front of the legs. Hip forward and knee back to get a deep stretch through the front of the leg. The glute stretch to loosen out through the hips. Lots of stabilizers working, so heel on your knee, push down your knee, keep your chest tall and hinge forward from the hips to get the stretch. A slightly different angle so you can see how Sharon's using her heel on her knee. You don't need to lean forward much in order to get the stretch in the glutes. Now this is another muscle in your glutes that are really important to stretch. Take one foot over, hug it in and twist. You'll release your lower back and the deep stabilizers of your glutes here.
Yep.
Finally, this is the hip flexor stretch. Come down onto one knee, tuck your tailbone under and drift forwards to feel a stretch in the front of the hip. To get a deeper stretch, reach on up and over to lengthen out through the hip flexor. And finally, it's the IT band stretch. Step 1 foot behind, push hip across and lean up and across. This will help loosen out all the fascia in the outside of your hip, which is a common tight spot for runners. Now a final note needs to be given to shoes. This is one of Sharon's old shoes, and you'll see at the front and the side, like the tread's worn down quite a lot. It's worn down a little more on the inside of her shoe than the outside, so that's a sign that things are wearing down and she needed to correct something with her running. Sometimes it's shoes, sometimes it's biomechanics. The reason we know it's shoes is, as you can see here, her outside is compressed and that's going to affect how her leg works. Whereas her new shoes, nice and even, nice smooth tread wear. If you are wearing down one side more than the other, you just got to look at how you're using your body and train and use these drills to correct that a little bit more. Or go and see a podiatrist or a physio just looking at how your mechanics are working. And secondly, you'll see with her new shoes, they're nice and even. The bottom of the shoe keeps her nice and upright. So that's going to help her just run a nice straight line and look after her body. So thanks for listening. We trust you found some useful information. We've gone through this rather quickly, so please rewatch this video, take some tips from it, and please get in touch with us. If you've got any questions, go to upliftingpt.com, follow the contact page, and let us know, or leave your comments below this video. If you find this useful, remember, subscribe below. Take care, happy running, and until the next time, here's to you being the best version of you can be.